backup in case of a power failure.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel Mba. The Sisters of Mercy have been around in St. John's for over 170 years. They're credited with opening the Mercy Hospital, also known as St. Clair's, numerous retirement homes, and schools. So Roger Maunder takes us on a look back at all the impact they've had in our city over the last 170 years.
But no, I'm just going to put some chords in it. But none more so than her own kind. Well, Mercy Convent is closing, and the school has been closed since 1992. And I just trust that people have good memories and continue in their lives with good values that were taught us through this place, you know, through the school and from the sisters who lived here in this convent over the years.
I'm so good for that. Yeah, okay. That's all it is. So, embarrassingly, I gotta get some chords for that.
How difficult emotionally is tomorrow going to be for you, do you think?
Well, it is difficult. Definitely going to miss it.
We're here at the Rooms, finishing our second season of Sharing Our Cultures. This is the place where you get to meet amazing individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds who are making significant contributions to our communities. Join us for Sharing Our Cultures on Rogers TV, Channel 9.
I'm Sister Rosemary Ryan. Well, I guess to begin with, my mother was very involved with music. She took piano lessons, she took violin, she played in the Mercy Orchestra here. So then when we were growing up, all of us except my oldest brother, all of us had an opportunity to do individual piano lessons, or one of the boys did flute, and another sister, she did piano and violin. So music was a part of our lives growing up, and here at Mercy, we were all privileged to be able to have piano lessons, and it was taught during the school day. You were taken out of the classroom and for your music lessons, so it was just a part of us right from family, and then certainly all up through school. We'd be in chapel at 20 after 6 in the morning, have morning prayer and meditation, and go then have breakfast, and then it'll be off to school. There was a lot of silence in those days until about 1967. Several rules changed, but there was silence for meals. Somebody would be reading a spiritual book for the whole group. But we kept to sort of a strict timetable. Come home from school, we had recreation from 4 to 5, supper, and then after supper you prepared your lessons. We all had certain parts of the house to look after, and certain charges, we called them. And we did our charge of mopping or cleaning, whatever. Had recreation again from 8 to 9, and then it was time to get ready to go to bed. So it was a fairly structured day. I know religious life was highly valued, I think, in my family. My mother was educated through Mercy, and the sisters always held high regard in her opinion. It was never verbally suggested to me, but just, I don't know, there was just an inclination there that maybe I would like that type of life. And I finished grade 11 when I was 16. And, you know, I entered then at 16. My brothers frequently say now, you know, you were only 16, you know. But anyway, that was the way it was then, you know. Most of us were 16, 17, 18. You know, school was meant to be enjoyed. We never came out of fear or anything like that. So I would like for, you know, any of the ex-students to remember that and to remember all of the extra things that were done, especially like in the line of music and art and even fancy work. You know, once a week we'd be doing some needlework and fancy work, and they taught us how to knit. So all of this was included in our education.
Susan Quinn, and I'm a retired music teacher who presently I have a number of contracts. I continue to do Quintessential Vocal Ensemble, and I'm music director at Mary Queen of Peace Church, and just dabble in a few different things. I came here to kindergarten in 1967 in Little Mercy, which was on Harvey Road. And I remember my first day of kindergarten in 1967, and I went through here up until the end of grade 8, which was in 76. And I absolutely loved the school, felt safe, I felt I had a great education.
I think the sisters really instilled a really strong passion for music. I think music was always such a big thing for Mercy, especially choral singing.
I mean, it was something somehow innate in them. And I think that it was because it was such a beautiful form of expression, you know? It was a way for people to use their talents to create beauty and enjoyment. And it goes hand in hand, I think, with everything that they're about.
Oh, we practiced a lot, and it was part of the curriculum. And the nice thing about it is we could get private music lessons for little or nothing. So anyone who had any kind of interest or talent certainly could, you know, could benefit from that.
Well, right now, I mean, if you look at where I went musically in my life, I'm a violinist, I'm a pianist, I'm a choral director, and one of my favorite things about music is teaching music theory. So all of those things came about naturally because they were things that I was exposed to here from a young age and all the way up through. We were so well-rounded and well-educated from an early age.
One thing about the arts is that it really helps people gain confidence, and I think that that's been a huge influence for a lot of people.
You know, many people were very, very, very kind to me and treated me very well. You know, I went through a kind of golden era at Mercy. When I think about Mercy, I have very fond memories of it, and I guess maybe you probably found that quite common.
I'm just proud of all these connections and generations of people, and I'm proud of how well I was treated here. The chapel is right here. My music room is just behind this door. And this is where our instruments were every day. So I came into this room every single day. And so this chapel ended up just meaning a lot. And we would go down there as small groups in the Legion of Mary and we would go down there and pray. And I remembered it just being such an incredibly special place. But I wanted to see it as a grown adult because I hadn't seen this chapel since I was in grade 8. So of course, and this is like 4 weeks ago, of course I go into the chapel and I just went, you know, I clapped right away to see what the acoustics were like. And I turned to Sister Rosemary and I was like, I have to get in here and sing before these doors close. I always wanted to get QVE, one of my choirs, to get into that chapel and sing a cappella.
Well, I think, you know, music is something you either listen to in your car, go to concerts. I mean, it's the bit of geography that you would do. Well, you can learn that anywhere now. I'm not putting down the essentials of math and English and sciences, you know, they're so important. But, you know, music stays with a person.
it can transport you into another world of beauty, but also into a world of emotional expression. It's a portal to a kind of a spiritual realm, honestly. You know, it's a kind of beauty.
Almost everything that happens in our lives, I think, whether it's death or birth or sadness or whatever, is somehow able to be expressed in music in a way that is empathetic. It helps you through whatever crisis you're going through. Music is my go-to.
It's my reason to try to be as brilliant as I can. It's my reason to be curious. And it's my reason to just take care of myself and be good to myself and be able to put emotions in perspective, keep control. But it's very much my oasis, so it's a safe place to go.
There's nothing like it.
Strong women were bred in this building. Like, we always had public speaking contests, and I always felt like my class was pretty brainy anyway, you know? Like, my good friends were pretty smart. So I didn't always feel like I was that smart. I didn't realize until I went to university that it was because they were so smart, you know? I just hung around with some pretty smart people. Mary Carol Nugent is in the Toronto Symphony. And she's a year older than me, and we played together here all the time. Joan Woodrow, Sister Aberdeen, spoke of her all the time, and she had a picture of her. And Joni's quite a well-known music teacher, and also works with the Provincial Music Festival and the National Music Festival. Pamela Walsh has been in administration with the New York Philharmonic for years.
A number of us have actually gone on to work either teaching or performing or working in administration. So Sister Aberdeen, Sister Catherine, and Sister Celine, they really gave us a terrific start. And I'm just so grateful to this day to them.
Well, it certainly gave me an absolutely lifelong love of music. I never had the talent to make a big musical career, as did many people from Mercy. But I do credit that with the fact that when you try to play the violin and learn to play it even badly, or the piano, you have a huge respect for the art and the talent of the people who do it well. So I really do feel very grateful that we had that focus in my time at Mercy.
You know, that makes us feel very proud, because it means that the legacy of what we have valued and appreciated lives on through our former pupils, and gives us great pleasure to see some of these who went through the schools with us and now are doing their part. I hope it is, part of our legacy, that they can look back and see, what they were given in school, and it was done sometimes with substantial sacrifices. Like with the Mercy congregation, because we have a vow of poverty, all of our money goes into the common pot, shall we say, and because we pool our money together, we have the opportunity of giving substantial help to different groups, certainly to groups that we appreciate and value, like some of the music groups now that are probably not getting some of the attention they deserve in the school systems. So we like to support some of these areas that are in need and are dear to our hearts. Even when we built Holy Heart, that was paid for by our salaries, and we were delighted to do it. It was the Archbishop Skinner's dream, to have a central high school for girls, and he came to both congregations to see if they could fund it, so a lot of our salaries were put into that. So some of these sacrifices, I guess, You know, I think the girls are aware of them now as adults. They wouldn't have been aware of them when they were going to school, but as adults they are, and I think that develops an appreciation for what was done for them, you know, what was given to them.
Who was your biggest influence here when it came to music?
After Big Mercy?
Yeah.
Well, without a doubt, Sister Catherine Bellamy. She changed my life completely. She's my mentor. When I went to Holy Heart and I started piano lessons with her, I can't even describe, because she made history come alive in the way that she taught you. And I think that's what I've done to my own students. So when you look at a piece of music, Sister Catherine had a way of, you felt that she knew the composer. I don't know how she did it, but she knew so much about the spirit and the style of composers that she would embed almost their personality into you.
She was one of the ones, you know, almost, you know, an inspiration for this place.
Oh, yes.
Because she was working with the poor. She started the Emmaus House food bank over there with 5 parishes.
Yeah.
She knew the people who were sleeping in the pews over there, not at night time, but during the day they'd be in just to be in shelter, or they were riding the buses all day. So
that's what I loved about Sister Catherine. She had life in perspective, you know, and the biggest heart.
She was one of the loveliest, nicest, kindest people I ever met in my life. You know, there was nothing you could do or say to her that she was just understanding and accepting, and she loved her Mercy girls. She really did.
Well, she taught me to always discover, never be a trained seal. You need to discover, you need to equip yourself so that you can interpret music, and then you can teach your students how to interpret music. And that involves knowing the history and knowing the theory behind everything that you do.
She just had that, that magic touch that she could bring the best out in choirs, and she could write music and play the big organ over at the Basilica and ran the choirs over there for years. She was a truly wonderful musician. You know, she had that appreciation for other religions long before the rest of us were introduced to it, shall we say, you know. Yeah. She grew up in an ecumenical home. Wow. So she had, great appreciation for it all.
Yeah. I'm really glad to hear that, because I didn't know that she was, you know, kind of kickstarted the whole idea of having the gathering place. And it makes so much sense to me doing this whole, being on this journey right now. It just makes so many ends come together for me, and so many, like, if this goes into the future, the gathering place with its mission being to continue on. I mean, if the convent continues on to help the poor, you know, that all makes so much sense. We're moving on into the future and moving the right way, and all from the vision of a woman who I loved and who changed my life. You know, gosh, this was meant to be.
Oh, lots of inspiration around.
Yeah.
Glad this is going with us.
Wow.
That's it.
Somebody's living in here right now, right?
Me.
Oh, that's right. Rosemary Rhine.
This place was always known as our mother house. It's the very first convent that was on this side of the Atlantic. Mercy convents were in Ireland and England in 1842, but ours was the first on this side of the Atlantic. There were easily 50 of us here in the early 60s, and now there are 3 of us here. And when we look at it, there were 3 sisters that came out from Ireland, the 3 who came out in 1842, and here there are 3 of us left here in the house now, so we hope that we are as faithful as they were. The convent wouldn't be here only for their fidelity, and that they could put up with the hardships way back in 1842, so hopefully we're continuing what they started.
When we heard that Mercy would be closing, I was very upset, but it wasn't the same level of upset that my mom and her sisters felt because it was such a huge part of their lives growing up. It was, it influenced so much of their lives.
It's bittersweet in a way. It's bitter to know, it would be going from our hands. But we do have dreams of it serving the more vulnerable in the future. We don't know how that will be. But as you know, it's attached to what was Mercy School, which is now the gathering place. And many people come there for help.
I'm very happy that the physical building is still there and still being used for what I would call a very socially important purpose as the gathering place. And, that sort of eases the sadness of it.
The gathering place has been very, very good for so many people. I can't be sad about it. It's great. Yeah.
We sort of have a dream that maybe in the future the convent can be used somehow, either as low-income housing or in some way to serve the vulnerable. And we certainly think that our foundress, Catherine Macaulay, would be delighted with that. She did the same type of work herself over in Dublin. So she would be delighted that if this convent were to be used in that sense.
I think the nuns would have been proud of us, We ended up kind of okay. And I think, thank God. And I think it's the values that they imparted. I really do.
It prepared me for life in a lot of ways. And I'll always say that I feel I got a very good foundation educationally.
I remember being in the school gym or the auditorium and singing the school song. I can't believe I still remember it since I learned it when I was 5. And I'm sure other people will remember it, but it went, "Blue and silver shall we wear in honor of Our Lady fair." That's all I remember.
I think that we need to give ourselves every opportunity in life to discover and to think deeply. Try your very best to problem solve yourself instead of trying to get quick solutions from other people. I think I got that strength from being here, so do your best to find your strength within yourself.
I worry about some of our young people who claim that they don't believe in God or, they have no religion. I'm not talking about attending Mass all the time, I'm just talking about having a spirituality, something that they can lean on and fall back on, because hard times come to everybody. I just would love for people to have something to cling on to, something in life that gives them meaning, and they'll have something to fall back on in the hard times.
It all started when I racked up some serious debt. Interest payments were going up, creditors were calling. Janes and Noseworthy came up with a plan. Knowing that the phone was going to stop ringing and that I was not in this alone was a huge relief. Bankruptcy or a consumer proposal or whatever help you get is not the end. It's just the beginning. A chance to start again with knowledge and support and people in your corner. Are you ready? Get out of debt. It's okay.
Learn more about Leah's story at janesnoseworthy.ca.
Safe channels for motorized boats, especially with deeper drafts, are generally marked with channel markers. Most are red or green and are either floating ones, called buoys, or on shore, called day beacons. Another caution you should be aware of is this: a diving flag. A diving flag indicates diving activity in progress, and you should stay at least 100 feet away.
And that was a great look back on the history of Sisters of Mercy. A special thanks to Susan Quinn and Roger Maunder of Upside Down Films on taking us on a walk through history. I'll see you next time and have a great evening.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us or send us your feedback